Senator Cotton's here, so we're going to dive in with him. Senator, it's great to have you on the Hugh Hewitt Show. It's been too long. It's nice to speak with you. And I just want to get your sense of what the thinking was, any surprises, why this thing wrapped up finally last night.
Well, Alex, first off, let me just apologize for getting to you late. I'm sorry about that, but
No
we're
problem.
engaged in the end game here to try to get the government reopened so people can get back to work and get paychecks and get their food stamp benefits and stop worrying about their flights being canceled. I think the real world pain has just started to accumulate, Alex. The president has done his best to try to insulate the American people from those hardships. But ultimately, you just start running out of money. You start running out of legal authority. People get exhausted. You've seen that at air traffic control towers around the country. You've got working moms out there who are struggling to buy food for their families because the food stamp money has run out at the Department of Agriculture. And a handful of Democrats have finally said that they're willing to take the slings and arrows from their left-wing base and go forward to fund the government. And frankly, Alex, there's a lot more than 8 that wanted to do this, but most of them are afraid to cross their far left radical base.
Do you think as this plays out, you're going to get more Democrats peeling off, particularly on the House side?
I doubt it, Alex. I think we're probably 60-40 last night. I was just in some conversations earlier, which is why I'm running behind. But I think we're going to be able to move this out of the Senate in the next few hours, and hopefully Speaker Johnson can pass it on Wednesday. But it's hard to see many Democrats over there. I mean, the House minority is always the most partisan of all the parties in Congress. But, as long as we pass it and send it to the president on Wednesday, then that means this senseless shutdown is going to end and the American people can know that their government is getting back to work on their behalf.
So I want to ask you about any of the political machinations that we need to know about in this audience. But also, I played a clip earlier of your colleague, Senator Shaheen, saying she voted to end the suffering. Does that imply that the Democrats are the ones imposing the suffering on the public? Seems like an important moment. I'm going to get your commentary on that, Senator, when we come back on the Hugh Hewitt Show with me, Alex Marlow. Alex Marlow here, host of the Alex Marlow Show, editor of Breitbart News, with Senator Tom Cotton of Arkansas, one of the most powerful senators in the Senate. Senator, I've got 2 big ones for you. The first one is what I posed before the break, which is the Democrats saying they voted to end the suffering. Does it imply the last 40 days when they consistently voted against opening the government that they were the ones imposing suffering on the public?
How could it imply anything else, Alex? If they're talking about the suffering and the hardship that moms have faced paying for the grocery bills without their monthly food stamp check, if they're talking about the hardship that air traffic controllers are facing, continually going to work without being paid, with colleagues calling in sick, putting more strain on them and therefore on the system, what hardships are they talking about? And who's caused the shutdowns? The Democrats who voted 15 times to keep the government closed. And what have they gotten from it, Alice? They've gotten nothing.
Zero.
Nothing that we weren't happy to provide on September 30th. They want to have a debate about health care? We'll have a debate about health care. Obamacare has made health care unaffordable. That's why people are seeing double-digit increases in their premiums, not because the Biden Obamacare COVID bonuses are expiring. It's because of Obamacare and its failed structure. That's why the price of health insurance has been going up for 14 years in America. But they got nothing out of this failed 6-week government shutdown other than imposing all those hardships on the American people. I'm glad that few have come to their senses and are willing to stand up to their radical left wing. I commend them for that. 3 of them did so all along. I commend them as well. But I hope that many more Democrats will realize this is no way to govern. They shouldn't be shutting down the government, taking hostage all of those paychecks, all of those benefits, the public services the people reasonably expect for their tax dollars the next time we have a government funding deadline.
All right, Senator. So you teased the other big question, which is about the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, and I want to just get a sense of what the nature of the debate is, because the Democrats that caved, saying they save face by getting a commitment from you guys to discuss healthcare costs, which I think you would have anyway. I think that's pretty obvious, but that's what they were saying. So what is this nature of the debate that's going to take place? What's really on the table, and can you handicap things for us?
Alex, it'll be nothing more than a normal Senate debate on an issue of timely importance. Many Americans are concerned about their health insurance premium increases, not just the small handful of people who are on the Obamacare exchanges, Alex, but the more than 100 million Americans who get health insurance through their employers as well, because Obamacare imposed lots of needless regulations on those plans that are driving up the price of health insurance for Americans who get it on the job, not who get it through Obamacare. Just to give you one simple example, Alex, I mean, Obamacare imposes a basket of required coverages on all insurance plans. But the American people have very different needs. Your needs are very different when you're in your 20s and single, when you're in your 30s and 40s and you have young kids in the house, and when you're, say, in your 60s and older and you're an empty nester. Why shouldn't Americans be able to shop for the health insurance that fits their needs? That's what we do with car insurance. That's what we do with home insurance. That's what we should do with health insurance. So we're happy to have that debate next month, probably after Thanksgiving. We'll let the Democrats have a vote on whatever kind of big government statist-like system they want to run. But the solution here is not to keep throwing hundreds of billions of dollars in subsidies to insurance companies to fix Obamacare's problems. The solution is to fix our healthcare system.
Right. And so this is what's tricky here, and it connects with the other major conversation of the last week, which is with affordability, is that the task for folks like you in the Senate and in elected office and people like me in media is that the left is what caused the affordability crisis, and yet they're proposing more of what they've done as the solution. The same thing's going to be with healthcare. A lot of the reason why healthcare is so expensive, it's gotten exponentially more expensive since Obamacare became the law of the land, and their solution is going to be essentially more Obamacare, ramp up something similar. And so we're going to have to outmessage them on this. Where do we begin?
Well, I think one is just to remind the American people that Obamacare is a failure. Ironically, it's called formally the Affordable Care Act, but it's made health care unaffordable. Again, not just for those people on the exchanges, but for anyone who gets private health insurance on the job as well. And there are some pretty simple things that we can do to help bring down the price of health insurance, like allowing people to put more money into a health savings account, allowing them to get the kind of insurance that fits their needs. You know, young single people or older empty nesters probably don't need, for instance, OBGYN coverage. That's different if you're a young married couple and you're planning on having kids. There's lots of things we can do, common sense solutions that's going to help people buy the insurance that they need at their stage of life that is affordable for them, that doesn't require more regulation and more spending from Washington, D.C.
Senator, I got 20 seconds. What's next on the agenda for you now that we're getting the government open?
Well, we're hopefully going to pass some of those year-long funding bills so we don't allow the Democrats to take the government hostage again. And then, of course, the annual defense bill is coming down the pike as well to make sure that we're taking care of our troops, getting them not just the pay that they lost this last 6 weeks, but the training, the weapons, the equipment they need to defend our nation.
Senator Tom Cotton of Arkansas, well done in the 20 seconds.